It's another very lovely evening and lovely day. It is the 10th of May this year, 2022. Now, thank you so much and welcome to this special edition of What is Happening Now. To just let you know, the Timex Nutrition Center, which normally airs at this time, was supposed to be here today, but we regret and just express our apologies that this program has been postponed to next week. So we will not have Timex Nutrition Center, which was supposed to be airing between 9 and 10 o'clock. And now this is being replaced by the Uganda Turkish Investment, Trade, Industry and Tourism Summit. And of course, we'll get into the conversation right away. Joining me in studios today are three very important guests to talk about what is happening. And I will start by introducing the ambassador, my very good friend, Mr. Kerem, out the ambassador, Turkish ambassador to Uganda. Very welcome to studios this evening.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have you here. Together with the ambassador is the Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister Evelyn Anite, State Minister of Finance for Investment and Privatization. Welcome, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
Happy to have you. And of course, my very good friend looks very different when he's in real life. Comrade Rwakakamba, and he's the chair, board of the Uganda Investment Authority. Also, very welcome, Rwakakamba.
Thank you, Jaggy. And good to see you on that way.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to have all of you here, and of course, this is where Honorable Minister, I'll beg to start with you as a minister. Let's start the conversation here. I talk about the Uganda Turkish Investment, Trade and Tourism Summit 2022. And this is happening this week on Thursday and Friday. The speakers are 10 million. Set the ball rolling.
Okay, Jagenda, thank you very much for asking me to set the ball rolling. So I'm just asking myself, so where do I start the ball rolling? Okay.
Keep it straight.
Okay.
The whistle's been blown.
Alright, so it's very, very exciting news for us as a country to have our first post-COVID summit, and with a big interest of attracting FDI in the country. And we're not doing it with any small country, we're doing it with Turkey. We're talking about Turkey and the people of Turkey coming to Uganda in big numbers. We talk about 300 Kerem, and I want to underline the word Kerem, investors from Turkey coming to meet up with 700 Ugandan investors, and also Kerem investors. And when I say Kerem, these are people who are in business, who have clear records of bookkeeping. These are credible companies, and also individuals whom we have sourced out from the public to come and do matchmaking, what my friend Morrison calls us deal rooms with the Turkish investors. It's very, very exciting for us because from 2020, when COVID struck the world, it's been very difficult for us to attract FDIs. To tell you, our FDI attraction went down to as low as 2% when we were growing at a percentage of 10% and thereabout for us as a country. And so it just nosedived, and you saw so many other companies, like 1 or 3 companies closed shop, and these are international companies. And so this time, as our economy is steadily recovering, and thanks to our president, that he left during COVID and even after COVID, most especially during COVID, he left the industrial sector, the manufacturing sector operational. And this Uganda Turkey Summit is his idea, because when I, together with the Ambassador of Turkey, went to visit His Excellency the President 1 month back, we discussed different investment opportunities and the interest of Turkish investors in investing in Uganda. So we proposed and had a discussion on this summit, and His Excellency allowed us to have this summit. And it is likely for us to attract investment and encourage the tourism and trade, because the trade between Uganda and Turkey during the COVID time grew by 35%, and we also picked the theme of tourism, because we know that it's summertime for Turkey, and Uganda, which better country in Africa than Uganda. Uganda is very, very unique, and its uniqueness is by the fact that it is at the equator, and it is at the north and southern hemisphere of the equator. My president always says that there is no better country in Africa than Uganda, probably even in the world. The one he thinks that could be comparable to Uganda is Ecuador. And I do agree with him because of the beauty of Uganda. As Churchill said, Uganda is the pearl of Africa. And so we want the Turkeys to come and explore this pearl. And Ambassador here will tell you more about his experience in the pearl of Africa.
Okay.
So that's what we'll be doing.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And just before I come to the Ambassador, let me get my brother Morrison here. You are from the Uganda Investment Authority, and you know, when you talk about Uganda and investors, the Ugandans feel they are very suspicious in most cases. Now, to you as the chairman board of Uganda Investment Authority, you've had Ugandans and their relationships or their past history with investors. That at times doesn't come so nice and all these things. How would you convince a Ugandan watching us now that when you talk about investment, we talk about investors, we talk about people coming, just talk about cream la cream who are coming to invest here? How would the people be convinced that we are going to have the cream of investors coming in from Turkey to come and pour money in Uganda?
Well, that's a very interesting question. First of all, Turkey, or the tax, are already in Uganda. We have a lot of investors from Turkey already in the country getting things done. So what you see as the Turkey Uganda Investment Summit is actually to move from gear number 2 to gear number 4 in terms of deepening the investment and business relationship between Uganda and Turkey. But also too is that since we announced this Uganda-Turkey Investment Summit, we are receiving a record number of interest from Ugandans to actually partake into this summit. We wanted to max this up at around 400, but we have received applications of over 1,000, Ugandan business people who are looking forward to go into the deal, like the Honorable Minister says, and bracket or put together what you call a joint venture, discuss joint ventures with the Turkish investors, form companies together, such that we can, such that a lot of resources and expertise and experience from Turkey, which is a major country in Europe and Asia, to be able to really come here. So what you're suggesting to be a bit of suspicion is actually not there. It is in every society you have some skeptics, but you see in the business world, business people are very serious. They let those who want to speak and shout, but those who are business people, those who are investors, and we have a lot of them in Uganda, really go for it. And to also possibly tell the country is that we see a lot of interest from Ugandan business people to shift from mere trading to actually investing. A few weeks ago, we were in Western Nile, and over, I think, almost 5,000 people from the 8 districts of West Nile participated, in that meeting and started discussing on investing in that industrial park. If you go to Soro, the level of interest, you go to Kumujini, the level of interest, you go across the country. I think that President Museveni has ripened the idea that investment is the one that is going to transition this country to middle class and the first world. That is why the #1 agenda is to create 25 industrial parks, and I'm happy that one of them is actually going to be, headlined, by Turkey as the Turkish Investment and Trade Center. So we are really looking to a lot of interesting things that are going to happen. This week. Of course, Turkey has a very historical relationship with Africa because, and this relationship started, around 500 BC. when the Ottoman Empire, you know your history.
Ottoman
Open trade routes.
And the sick man of Europe sometimes.
Not really. It is no longer. It's now.
Of course, no longer the sick man of Europe.
It's now.
One time the sick man
It's
of
now
Europe.
what you call a geometric
Oh, yeah.
trajectory. You know, in terms of progress that is happening in that country. I visited it twice last year, and there is so much progress. So I was telling you, 500 BC through Cairo into Kerem. So, but now what we are seeing is that the relationship is now no longer going to be about trading. It is going to be about investing here in the sectors. And the other unique thing is that, you know, we just need a few hours, you know, between 5 to 6 hours you fly to Istanbul, and we are in the same time zone. You know, if it is 9 p.m. here,
It's 9 p.m.
It's 9 p.m. in Turkey. So I think there is a lot of deeper ties that we can, you know, get out from this.
Thank you very much, Morrison. Or Your Excellency. You talk about this investment and where do you see the potential? You talk about the history that we've had, and then of course, you know, when he talks about Turkey, the Turkey that we all know, I know you brand your country as the forgotten land of the Bible. Many of us want to travel, go to Israel, go everywhere, and actually forget these are the land that is actually biblical setting in its own right. And I think when you talk tourism, that's the other thing that can also be explored. Talk about the potential that you see in Uganda that you think you can have a leverage on in as far as investment is concerned in this country.
Yes, thank you very much, Uganda. As you know, there are some stereotypes, and we sometimes feel prey to those stereotypes. Like you say, there are those brandings of things, like the sick man of Europe, for example. That allegory that you have made. It's like, you know, the imperialist powers try to brand this country as such so that they can partition it, they can exploit it, and something like that. For Africa, it's the same thing. That we are
That continent.
for the continent. That's like always talking about the this development and what. And also this potential that we have asked very correctly. We always, as diplomats, as politicians, we discuss about these potentials. We decided, together with Honorable Anite and together with my brother Morrison, not to do lip service anymore. Because even during the COVID period, as Evelyn has said, our trade business and the investments continued despite the lockdowns. And that potential we have released directly, and it has reflected into the figures, into the number of people who are interested in Uganda. But also, you know that the world is going through a crisis. Not only we are not able to solve the wars and conflicts that we have inherited from the past century, but we have added, and we keep adding on them. So, as such, Turkey and Uganda, in their respective difficult regions, have maintained peace and stability, and we have become strong hubs. Like Istanbul has become the largest airport in Europe. Uganda has remained as one of the countries which has preserved its nature in the best possible way. So, I can multiply those examples, but let's not lose sight of that. We have seen the potential. We decided to walk the talk and bring those businesses together, because it's not governments at the end of the day who are going to develop the country, but it is private businesses. So this is the opportunity which has been blessed by His Excellency, and we thank him for keeping this country prone to investment, open to investment, and the investors are coming tomorrow so that we can unleash this potential.
Very good. So what are your expectations of the summit that is happening a day after tomorrow? What are these expectations that you think that after Friday or on Saturday going forward, you will be seeing these things coming out of the summit that you shall have there?
So there are several targets. The primary target is, as Morrison has stated, we want to have Turkish investment in the trade center. The location has already been identified. I want to show this location to the Turkish investors so that they can come and see, they can measure, they can see from their own eyes, because they also have stereotypes. They don't know how beautiful Uganda is and how blessed Uganda is. They compare it to other countries where there is no water, where it is desert, maybe there is some oil, and there is the oil talk, and they believe like this is a country like India. It is not. They have to see from their own eyes. They have to see and touch the Ugandan people, because they are dynamic, they are young, they are well trained, well educated. They will be an explosive power in the development of Uganda. So my primary target is to show the Turkish that Uganda is a good country for investment, it is peaceful, it is stable, the land is there, the incentives are there. The only thing they have to do is just to come, establish, start bringing the Turkish know-how, particularly in industry, to Uganda.
Okay, particular industry, I think that's very good. Honorable Minister, His Excellency here just talked about the incentives. More light on incentives, and I think this is another thing that we should talk about when we get into investment, the incentives, and we endlessly talk about incentives. Talk about the incentives that should attract investment in this country.
Thank you for asking me that question, and I want to, I know Ugandans know tax incentives, but today I want to take this opportunity to talk about the non-tax incentives that we have, that we offer as a country. First, our president has done excellently well. Our country is a country of opportunities. You can summarize it into 3 Ps. It's a country of peace. It's very, very peaceful, thanks to His Excellency Dr. Museveni. Our country is very profitable. And what do I mean that it is very profitable? If you invest in Uganda, you are linked to 170 million markets. And this is in the East African region. And you know, recently, Uganda was linked to DRC. Our president pacified, and is still pacifying, Democratic Republic of Congo through our UPDF. And now we are looking at 80 million Congolese in that market. And that market provides an incentive to any investor in the world, and Turkey inclusive, that if you invest in Uganda, their products will have a ready demand and ready market. And I mean, as an investor, I will tell you that is what an investor will look at. But other than the market, which is the East African market of 170 million, we're talking about 390 million people in the COMESA and 1.25 billion people in the African free trade.
Yes.
So we have the market, and I know that the ambassador here will tell you at a later stage that the manufacturers of goods and services in Turkey are actually looking for markets for their products. And this time, we're not only giving them access to raw materials, which is my next incentive that I want to talk about, but we are opening them to additional market, to the market that they already know. And this is a huge incentive that we're giving the Turkish investors that will come and invest in Uganda. Additionally to that, we're talking about raw materials. Now, this is our God-given incentive. And in the colonial days, this incentive that is God-given of the raw materials, natural resources, you're talking about our coffee, you're talking about our copper, you're talking about our cotton. What were we doing with this God-given incentive to Uganda? We're exporting them raw. Thanks to His Excellency, when he came to power, there were only 80 factories in 1986, and today we're talking about over 4,000 factories in the country. And what did he bring as a policy? The policy is let's do value addition to 99% purification of these God-given raw materials in the country. Now, this is the minerals sector. We're talking about over 32 minerals. And I will tell you, if you wanted to do, which is something we need to do with a growing population of 43 million Ugandans now, housing certainly plays a key role. And I've visited Turkey myself, and I know how their real estate sector is. And so we're giving them an incentive of saying, look here, if you invested in Uganda, you have a ready demand for the housing sector. And now, not only would you be able to invest here, but we have the raw material, which is our iron ore, and we want them to do value addition in our iron ore. And we have it in Moko, and we have it in big quantities. And we're talking about copper, cobalt. We have it in Kerem mines, and we've not done any value addition. And so we are asking these Turkish investors to come. But this is yet the mineral sector. And if I tell you about the grain milling, and And if I tell you about our milk products, our forest products, Turkey is very well known for furniture. And Ugandans, lately, they import all their furniture from Turkey, and because of the quality and the price. So something unique about Turkey is that their products are of European standard but of Chinese price. And I want to tell you, now this is what makes Ugandans to move away from that long journey to Bonjour to coming to the short journey of 5 hours that Morrison just mentioned to you, to be importing not only textile, but also the furniture. But we don't want, and I again will continue making reference to my president. When he appointed me as the Minister of Investment in 2016, and he says, you see, Anite, Uganda is like a supermarket of the short. Everyone gets their products.
It's a supermarket country, you could say it's a supermarket country.
Yes, they just dump their products in the country, but we need to change this. And so we want to change this in this collaboration with Turkey, and not only making Turkeys to walk the journey alone, and this time making Turkeys to walk the journey with Ugandans, and they're very happy and open to do this and give them the knowledge transfer and going to joint ventures with them, and so that we add value on our forest products, on our agricultural products. We have cassava in the country, and everyone is making a mock of it and saying, oh, look here, why is the president talking about the cassava? And I'm telling you, someone who has been raised with this cassava, there's just a lot more that you get. You get energy, but not only do you get that value, we have not done value addition in our cassava. And we know that Turkey, they are a tourist health destination. Pharmaceuticals. And so we want them to come and do value addition on our cassava to do this time medical pathogenic economy, which is one of the sectors that we promote. That they have to do value addition on our cassava, and this time get for our syrups, for our children, do value addition on our sugarcane that we grow, and we avocado, we leave it there. And this time we want them to do the value addition and manufacture do value addition on our sugar, among many other things that you want the Turkish investors to do. So back to the tax incentive. Now I've told you all the non-tax incentives, and yes, we have none. His Excellency the President directed that we should establish 25 industrial parks, and we have all these 25 industrial parks in every sub-region. And so we have earmarked, working with the UPDF Engineering Brigade, the Aniland, which is in Nakasongola, to be the Uganda-Turkey industrial park out of our 25 industrial parks. And so that land is available. It's 600 acres of land, and so we want the Turkish to
next to our industries.
Exactly. They're around that Katugo, the Kogi, the Katogi.
Well,
Kakogi. Exactly, Nakasongola. So that's exactly where we want them to go and invest in. So to the tax incentives that we give, we just don't throw tax incentives. We just don't say, oh, we are happy and because we love you so much, Turkeys, and therefore we're just giving you these incentives. So we give a tax holiday of 10-year tax holiday, but in an exchange of what? In an exchange of investment. So you first have to invest for you to be able to benefit from our tax holiday. And if we have plant and machinery, not only for the Turkish, even a Ugandan investor. If you decided to be an investor right now, not in trade, certainly we will not give you that incentive, but in manufacturing, you want to bring your plant and machinery, we would waive that tax and tell you, bring your plant and machinery in the country because we want you to come and do value addition on our natural resources, and therefore don't pay any tax. So that is one tax incentive that we give. And we expect to get dividends through the jobs that you're going to create. We expect to get dividends through the money that you pay to the Ugandan citizens who will be working there, and therefore they will pay indirect taxes. And if they go out and drink beer, and I want to use the example that my president likes to use, if they go out and drink beer, there is an 18% VAT on that beer. So automatically you're able to get a tax.
To recoup from them, yeah.
You recoup. So you get the money back in the economy. So it's I hear this hula baloo of, why are you giving all these tax incentives? Why are you doing this? No, we're doing it very strategically because we expect a return. Now, everywhere in the world, people are now, governments are saying their countries first. And we cannot be saying this. What do we have as our comparative advantage? As Ugandans, our comparative advantage is that we have the country is peaceful, we have the raw materials. But what don't we have? We don't have the capital. So what do we want from Turkey? We want access to the cheap credit. We want access to their technology. Now we have the labor, which Turkey is looking for. But the labor we have is not skilled, and therefore we want them to come and skill our labor, and then they employ them. And so the other tax incentive is that you will be able to export. If you manufacturing 80% for export, then we don't pay, we waive the tax. You don't have to pay tax on your manufactured product. And yes, we give corporation tax, holiday, income tax, holiday, but it all depends on the magnitude of the investment that you would have made.
Okay, thank you very much. Ndugu Morrison, now, you know, when you look at Uganda, we have a vision 2040 that we need to achieve, and of course we want to see ourselves get there. Before we achieve the vision 2014, we break it into piecemeals of our national development plans. We're running the third, and I think we're supposed to run about 6 NDPs to properly get there. And now you are a part of an agency of government that is the bedrock of helping us achieve that. When you look at what is happening in the country, and of course from the perspective of Uganda Investment Authority, are we on to that trajectory that will help us achieve the Vision 2040 going forward?
Well, actually, I should have started from far because we're implementing point number 5 of the 10-point program of the National Resource
Yes.
which is creating and establishing an integrated economy.
Yes.
Because
Self-sustaining.
self-sustaining and integrated economy. So all these visions you're talking about are actually, you know, delivering, you know, on that point. And I think the key issue, which I think the Honorable Minister spoke about and the Ambassador, is about President Museveni's pursuit of peace and stability. Because business people, investors, look at peace and stability before they make what they call a final investment decision. That's the key driver. Because if you invest your money in a country, whether you're a citizen or somebody from abroad, you want to be sure that this country
in the next so many years
is stable because you want to recoup
from investment.
from that investment. So if you look at Uganda, from north to south, east to west, fully peaceful. But also, President Museveni and the National Resistance Movement, they haven't stopped at pacify Uganda. They have moved ahead to even pacify the region. From Somalia, because now East African community is connected from the Indian Ocean to the that's not the Pacific, to the Atlantic Ocean. And all of that, we are trying to make it, you know, peaceful. And if you look at Uganda's economy, in spite of all these headwinds, you know, COVID that impacted the world, the fractured global supply chains that are impacting, you know, that are bringing in imported inflation and all that, I have been looking at the report published today that is actually showing that Uganda is still going to be one of the fastest growing economies, and it is going to grow at 6.5%. Okay? So investors look at those numbers and they see a ray of hope, and that helps them to quicken that investment decision. Point number 2 is, you know, now the president and the country, that's why we're talking about doing the heavy lifting. As a country, we have consistently invested into what you call the cost managers that drive investment. Cost number 1 is electricity. This country did not have electricity. If you do not have electricity, you cannot engage in manufacturing of goods. And even delivering of services, whether it is banking or insurance, you need electricity. So, with the guidance of President Museveni, the country has been investing heavily in electricity, to the extent now that we have excess electricity, which we are trying to evacuate to neighboring countries. But the agenda hasn't stopped, because we believe to achieve energy independence, we need to go into, 100,000 megawatts, if you will. So this is why we have to continue investing in clean energy to be able to project really for the future and reduce the cost of manufacturing. And that is why I think when they mentioned 5 cents kilowatt per hour, which we are trying to give as an incentive for people involved in manufacturing. The other aspect is we had the country had to solve the issue of transport costs. Okay? So that's why the railway is being revamped. That is why from north to south, from east to west, we have tarmac roads.
Yeah.
Where you have been spending, 14 hours. I come from Uganda, and we used to take like 14 hours, move from the capital city. But now in 5.5 hours, if you are driving at some interesting speed, really in 5 hours, you are in Kampala. And that is facilitating really the movement of goods. So we have done the best to allow now investors to be able to recoup very, very serious return on their investment. And this country, make no mistake, if you go to places like Rwakakamba, I don't know whether you have visited Rwakakamba.
Several times.
It's a very serious, it's a very interesting place. That whatever you invest in that place, now the numbers show.
As in on Friday last week.
Yes, that the return on investment is over and above 44%.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the biggest really in the world. Because you have got this interplay of Congolese coming in, you have the South Sudanese coming in. It is some sort of a cosmopolitan that brings different nations together.
Okay.
So this country, each corner where you go, there is opportunity. We want to establish an industrial park, in Iso, and we are linking to Goma. We want to establish an industrial park, for example, through Ishasha, then you go to North Kivu. If you have this industrial park that we recently launched in Nebi, through Olava and all those borders, you go to Ituri and you really do business. So, of course, the point I'm trying to make is that facilitating integration, the market access.
Integration.
Yes, you have Congo now in the game. We are part of COMESA. We recently, codified here in Uganda the African Free Trade and Continental Free Trade Area, which brings over 1.2 billion people in that realm. And in 2050, the projection is that African population is going to be 2 billion people. And 2 billion people, all young people. Do you see? Because the future of growth is not in Europe. No, people in Japan, people there, Anite, most of the people are 90 years. But here in Africa, you have got a young population that is buying. These are the consumers of the future. These are the investors of the future. So if you are an investor looking at geometric trajectory of growth, you are actually looking at Africa because of this vibrancy, because of this population, and we're investing in education, meaning that even when people don't have some skills in manufacturing, but because they have got certain level of education, they are trainable. So they have got this trainability. The last point I want to make is that the Honorable Minister spoke about minerals. The minerals we have in this country, if we add value, we are going to make 600 billion United States dollars. That is the value.
If we add value.
If we add value, meaning we need to bring factories here to achieve that 80%, 100% purification that the Honorable Minister was talking about. East Africa alone imports edible oil that is worth 5 billion United States dollars every year. My friend, we are importing edible oil. So meaning the market in East Africa is $5 billion. So if you are a tax investor, you want to come and set up an edible oil factory because you have all these sunflowers and all these things, the oil seeds, mostly in Eastern and Northern Uganda, where you can extract the edible oil. And even before you run to go and say in Europe and America, which is extremely very far, we are already talking about a $5 billion market within the region.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, time is running out, and of course, we will accept that so much has actually happened to us, especially the advent of COVID in the world. Changed lots of things, our priorities, and where we do things and how we do things. Lots of things have actually happened. And we now talk about investment. Turkish investors are coming into this country for quite a number of reasons, but where are they putting the focus? Where are they focusing? People actually say, here's where we go. She just talked about something called pathogen. Now, this is the donation of the Uganda of the world, the pathogen economy, and of course that's where we are. Quite a number of the other things, and we're looking at them. The industry of now, the pharma industry is one of the biggest now. It is ruling the world. It is, taking over. Where are Turkish looking to actually say, here is a lot of potential. We'll come and do this. We'll come and do this, and then from what's happening in the world, where do you think your energies are Turkey will be in making this investment a viable investment for both countries, Uganda and Turkey?
Okay. Now, from the Turkish perspective, of course, the Turkish investors are looking at their own history, at how they achieved the development, how they built Turkey to Turkey. It is today, built by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and has been a peaceful, strong, and stable country for close to 100 years now. So their experience is what? We have developed our infrastructure. Infrastructure is very important. Like Mr. Morrison said, if you cannot connect our cities,
The mobility
integrate
the mobility economy.
Exactly. Because we have the resources. But if we cannot get these resources together, and then once we have brought them together, if we cannot market them with a proper infrastructure, we cannot do it. So how, for example, Turkish Airlines prosper? It is because of that. Turkish cargo, Turkish Airlines have never stopped flying to Uganda even during COVID. Second is we need energy, and we have developed our resources. Like Uganda, we don't have oil in our country, but we have rivers. We have Tigris, Euphrates mentioned in the Bible that we have said
In the book of Genesis.
In the book of Genesis. So those are the rivers that we have to take and use the power of these rather than seeing those things as a challenge. We have managed to discover the potential that they have and turn it into energy. And for the past 50 years, they have been generating the electricity in Turkey. So infrastructure, energy, industrialization. This is what we have achieved. From a rural economy, we have transformed into an industrial economy. We have achieved the customs unions with the European Union. We have a very strong defense industry as well. We are part of NATO. So both in terms of agricultural industrialization, but also manufacturing, defense industry, the Turkish investors, the Turkish businessmen, they have this expertise. So these are the areas that they're going to focus. And lastly, tourism. Because when we compare the two countries, they are beautiful, beautiful countries. We are complementing each other. Tourism between the two countries is very low. We can increase this, but also we can help Uganda to attract more tourists, because Turkey has managed to receive 51 million tourists before COVID.
51 million.
Million tourists before COVID. Okay. Now the numbers are picking up again, and Uganda is around 1 million, I think. So we can transfer this one.
Okay.
You have mentioned the Rua. Now we are seeing very nice hotels like the Confidential in the Rua, and those are the types of hotels that we have in Turkey. We would like to bring more of those and help the hospitality industry in Uganda get to the level of Turkey.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think that's another very good one. When you talk about tourism, for example, tourism. Earlier on I talked about Turkey that you call the forgotten land of the Bible, because there are lots of places that you tour that I think will be very good advantage. Many years ago, I remember, I think not many years ago, but when the President Erdogan visited Uganda in 2016, I think, or 2017, about, we had that conversation of, when Turkish were marketing the country to Ugandans struggling ago, because that was a time when we had so many Ugandans flocking and going to Israel, to go to Jordan, to go to the Red Sea, to go to all these places, and we just reminded the things we're missing out in Turkey. One is the House of the Virgin Mary, and I think for every Catholic in this country that would love to visit Turkey to go and see the House of the Virgin Mary. Ndugu Morrison, I think I'll come to you just before we get into the conclusions here. We're having this summit on Thursday and Friday in Union. And from your perspective, from your angle as a Uganda's investment authority, what do you think we need to prep ourselves for as this actually happens, because it will definitely happen the day after tomorrow? What should we prep for as Ugandans to ensure that we do not miss the opportunity? You know, we are very good at missing opportunities.
Yeah, I would encourage Ugandans to go to the Uganda Investment Authority website, www.ugandainvest.ug, and check the details, read the details about this forum. Because what we are trying to do is the B2B, the business-to-business meetings. We think beyond the conferencing, beyond the speeches, we have to have practical deals of people coming together in the sectors that they are interested in, have a relationship, and start co-investing together or doing business together. So what we've created, actually, what we call deal rooms, where you can go on our website and know that an investor X is interested in a business, especially coffee processing, for example. If you are interested in that business, if your dream as a Uganda has always been to be a coffee processor, now the contacts of that business person who is coming from Turkey, coming for this summit, the contacts are there. We can help you as UIA directly arrange a meeting in terms of time, so that when we reach Munyonyo, beyond the conversations that are very much public and all that, now you can get in touch with that business person, get into that deal, and discuss the opportunity to collaborate. I think for us, that's going to be extremely very important.
Very important. Back to Ambassador. I'll let Minister speak last, but just back to Mr. Ambassador. The countries are known for certain things. You've talked about what you do, you've talked about the military prowess, you've talked about quite a number of things, and Ugandans who have actually maybe had an opportunity to study what Turkey does or what Turkey is known for. What would you tell them? What is Turkey known for? When you talk about the other countries, it's diplomacy. I'll not mention country X, Y, or Z for whatever they do, but the countries that you talk about and say, oh, okay, we know that country for they make automobiles. We know when you talk about that country, we know that this is what they do. We talk about that country. What is Turkey known for that we will get there? Lately, you've also been marketing education, and of course, we have quite a number of Ugandans who have had that education exchange with Turkey. But what is that thing that you actually are known for as a country that somebody would get to immediately? You talk about Turkey.
Yes. Well, I would say peace again, because that is what we are. That is how we prosper. And second is innovation. In difficult geographies, innovation is not necessarily technology.
The different geographies.
Innovation is we face different challenges, and we have to adapt ourselves to those challenges. So whether it is technology, whether it is natural catastrophes, whether it is surplus population, whether it is migration, surplus, Turkey is hosting more than 5 million immigrants, refugees. As Uganda is. So we have to cope with these number of challenges. So that is where the innovation comes in. So we have to create our own solutions to the problems that we are having. So in a peaceful environment, we innovate, we adapt, and we create our solutions. This is what we would like to do.
Honorable Minister,
Yes.
final remarks about the summit, and in another maybe 2 minutes, and we'll be out of studios.
Oh, thank you. I just want to first of all thank UBC for giving us this opportunity to be able to let Ugandans know about the Turkey-Uganda summit that is happening on Thursday, which is 12th, and ending on the 13th. But just more than knowing that this summit exists, if you're out there and the Ugandan serious business person. You do have credibility, and you actually have business. You've registered your company with Uganda Registration Service Bureau. You have a clear documented business plan, and you're only having a challenge of where do I get technology of the value addition, let's say on maize to be able to make cereals, and you don't know what to do. The only place for you to be would be Munyonyo, and there you're going to get someone who has the technology, who then knows how you can do the value addition, not only on your maize, not only in your cassava that you're growing in your backyard, not only in the minerals that you have access to, but they have technology advancement and they also have access to credit. So my encouragement to Ugandans is, let us not despise. Let us go in. Let us get inspired with the opportunity our president has created for us to invest in our country. Let us get involved. Let us get motivated to be able to benefit and get dividends from the God-given natural resources that we have in our country. That way, we will be able to industrialize our country, create jobs, and we'll be able to make money. Let's make money. Let's stop politicking. I hate politics now because I know more than anything, politics gives you zero dividends, but it just gives you hate and enemies. But if you go into business and you do good business, you actually can get rich. You can actually get to make clean money, and there's no better future than in business and than industrializing. Yes, we give politics, we can go on politics, but we can do clean politics because they support each other. But then, why waste all this energy rioting, running on the streets, demonstrating, abusing, drawing cartoons and all that? Why don't you put your energy in a very credible and return worth place, and that you can be able to get proper returns on your investment? And I want to encourage fellow Ugandans and my citizens that the environment has been created by our president for us. Markets have been created. God has given us the natural resources. What we have to do value addition, and then we industrialize our country and create the jobs.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister Evelyn Anite. Evelyn Anite is a State Minister of Finance for Investment and Privatization. Thank you so much for being allowed to join me this evening on the UBC TV. Thank you very much, my own brother, Morrison Rwakakamba, Chair Uganda Investment Authority, and of course to my other brother, the ambassador here, Ambassador Kerem. He is the ambassador of Turkey here in Uganda. And of course, just let you know that the Uganda-Turkish Investment Trade Industry and Tourism Summit is on this week, and it is on Thursday and Friday at the Speak Resort in Munyonyo. Now, to just again voice out our apologies, Timex Nutrition Center that was supposed to be on air between 9 and 10 did not happen today, but we promised that Timex Nutrition Center will be back on air next week on Tuesday at the same time. Thank you very much, and of course we now just take you to the news at 10 o'clock with my sister Rhoda Monzi. My name is Jagenda Semakola Zikusoka Sajabi. Now back to you, Rhoda Ngozi, for the bulletin at 10 o'clock. A very good evening, Rhoda.